Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all learn this truth from and who do well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000, the rest of the elect. Unto you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit. And the title for this one's going to be Many Great Miseries Are About to Come to This World. Because the wickedness that goes on around the world, especially here in America, Babylon the Great, which is the mother of all harlots, which has pushed out its wickedness throughout the four corners of the earth by that Babylonian wine, that American wine, that American way of life, that death style, from all these different philosophies that America pushes out on its people and throughout the world through its media, these different politicians, celebrities, actors, influencers. You have all manners of wickedness that gets pushed out, on these people, especially our people, the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that have been made the target of wickedness because the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, the one that's behind all this, is trying to accuse the chosen people of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, which we know that he's not going to be successful because he's being a devil, he's being a deceiver, deceiving all these nations to buy into his philosophies, into his currency, the US dollar, and to the feminism, the alphabet agenda, the Mo agenda. And now it's to the point where all these different nations, they're tired of America, Babylon the Great. And that's how this place is going to ultimately be destroyed, when all these different allies that America so-called has are going to turn on the whore, and they're going to shoot missiles over here. But first, it's going to get torn down from inside, and that's happening. We see that an imminent collapse is about to happen because of the economy is down the drain, and it's only going to get worse because of all these different benefits that these people are so used to it, they're entitled to. Now that Esau Edom is about to cut it out, now they're going to be mad. Now they're going to be, angry at the government. They're already angry, but it's going to get to the point where they're just going to say, fuck it, we're going to storm all these different places where these politicians, reside at and work at, because they're mad at this government. They're mad at, this administration of Nero 47, DJ Trump. And it's to the point where these people are just ready to just lose their minds at completely just bug the hell out, because they're bugging out now. But how much more when you take their food away, when you take their bread and circus? These people are really going to lose it, because they're not going to have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and verse 50. And it reads, "For many great miseries shall be done to them, that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride." And what's the most proudest, the proudest, most haughty nation, country, city in the world is America, Babylon the Great. This land is full of entitlement. People just want it now, that instant gratification. Why wait? I can have it now, because they're all under that vibration of Esau Edom. It's to the point where Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is visiting the earth, and he's sending these plagues from all these natural disasters, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes in diverse places. Stirring up the minds of these Egyptians, of these Babylonians, these Americans, because of how proudful they are. So it's to the point where Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai isn't going to hold back. He's starting to send these plagues upon the planet Earth. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 5. "Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." And that's what's happening. We see all these different you know, National Guard troops and ICE agents, FEMA troops, foreign troops that are basically already here, ready to do a number on these Americans and really throughout the four corners of the earth, but especially here in America. And who's the main target? Is going to be Jake. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and they're already being targeted. Esau Edom isn't discriminating. Just because you're a so-called Negro, or just because you're a so-called Latino. No, Esau Edom, he's targeting the tribes because of all the iniquity that our people do. That's why he's cutting out. Ultimately, it's Yahweh Bashim Shai that's putting it upon his spirit, to cut out these benefits, the SNAP program, food stamps, Section 8 vouchers, welfare, the Title 4D, child support. Because Yahweh Bashim Shai is about tired of the wickedness of this place. But really is for our people. That's why it's called Jacob's trouble. Verse 6, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So it's to the point where that limit of wickedness is going to be achieved. And Yahweh Bashim Shai is just going to have to step in and send Yahweh Shai back. When Esau Edom makes that MOTB mandatory, he micro C-hips majority of the entire world. That's when Yahweh Bashim Shai is going to have to send Yahweh Shai back to deliver his elect. Because of how wicked, how corrupted it is about to get, to the point where you're not going to be able to buy and sell. That's why this is a controlled demolition, but these people don't know it. They see that the economy is bad and their hope is for it to bounce back, but that's not going to happen. Verse 7, therefore said the Lord, verse 8, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood cried unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. So all these wicked elite, what they're doing, all their NWO plans, meetings at the summit, along with our own people, wicked as Jake, but really it's these Edomites, that are practicing all these different devices of how to, do away with our people. That's why Yahweh Bashim Shai is about to do a number on our people for how wicked the entire earth is. But you got that remnant, you have that elect, that's crying out to Yahweh Bashim Shai, to bring this devil down, to destroy the wicked of our people, and you have members of the elect, or they're in the spirit world, they're crying out as well. They're seeing all the wickedness that goes down here upon the planet Earth, and they're like, Yahweh Bashim Shai, Babu Kushah, bring this devil down, bring Esau Edom down. This is, jump down to verse 14. It says, woe to the world, 2 Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Verse 15, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand. And this is what's about to happen. Because Esau Edom, and ultimately Yahweh Bashim Shai, he knows how to get to these people, especially here in America, is through the food, through the food supply. Because these Babylonians, as long as you give them bread and circus, you allow them to eat, stuff their faces, eat 5-6 meals a day with snacks in between, that they're happy. They don't care that they're in slavery, that they gotta work, a 9 to 5, that they gotta work 80 hours a week. As long as they can eat, they don't give a damn. As long as they can go to McDonald's at 4 in the morning, go through the drive-thru and get 5 Big Macs, and 6 extra large fries and 3 Diet Cokes, then they don't care. But Yahweh Bashim Shai is cutting all that off. He's about to collapse this food system, and that's why it's going to get so bad, because these Babylonians, these Americans, they're so used to this food, that ultimately they're going to be like, damn, I haven't eaten in 12 hours. I haven't eaten in 1 day. I haven't eaten in 2 days. they're going to be looking for that food. They're going to be crying out, for a solution. And what are they going to do? They're not just going to starve. Yeah, a lot of them are going to starve by famine. But ultimately, they're going to go from house to house, looking for food, looting, whatever resources they may get, with that sword, with the modern day sword, which is the gun, and whatever other forms of weapons these Americans have. Because America is the country with the most guns. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. And they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the cause of their actions shall stand in their power. And what do you have these bugged out jakes on TikTok, on social media saying they're about to do? They're saying, oh, y'all not gonna send me my deposit on November the 1st, and I'm gonna go into these grocery stores. I'm gonna just fill up my two buggies, my two grocery carts, and walk out and don't pay. But that's what Esau Edom wants our people to do. They're like, I don't give a damn about the store employees trying to stop me. But that's why Esau Edom is gonna send those martial law troops, like he's already sending them out to every state, because of what's about to unfold. Esau Edom knows what he's doing. He wants these people to riot. He wants them to just bug the hell out and just start causing mayhem, start causing riots, and that's what's about to happen. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into the city and shall not be able. So it's gonna get so bad that Esau Edom said it himself. He's gonna close these stores down because people are he knows that people are gonna riot. They're gonna loot these stores, and along with that, there's gonna be these different checkpoints. There's gonna be these different military checkpoints in every city. There's gonna be 15 mini cities, and ultimately, the only way they're gonna be access them is if you have that MOTB, that charagma. And majority of the people on the planet Earth, they're gonna fold because they're so used to going to work. They're so used to, eating all day. So it's gonna be nothing for these Americans to beg for that solution, to beg for that MOTB. Just to be able to go into the city, to go into these different venues and bars and grocery stores. Verse 18, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and man shall be afraid. So it's going to get so bad that people are going to touch their stomachs. Ribs are going to be showing. They're going to be like, man, I got to eat. I haven't eaten in 2 days. I haven't eaten in 3 days. That's why these Americans are through. They don't know what a fast is. They don't even know the definition of it. All they know is breakfast. Breakfast at 7 in the morning. Big old 5 egg McMuffins. That's all these Babylonians know. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. For the lack of bread, famine. That's what's happening, because it's all by design. There should be no reason why there's starvation upon the planet Earth. If you have the right rulership, but we have the devil in rulership. We have Esau Edom, self-proclaimed white man in rulership. And ultimately, it's all by design. It is a man-made famine, but ultimately, it's Yahweh Bashim Yahushua who's behind it. He's really the one that's in control of all these things that are happening upon the planet Earth. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? And we're at the beginning of sorrows. These are the beginning of sorrows. All these benefits getting cut out. Ultimately, it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get any better, like these Americans are hoping it. And that's what these wicked elite are banging on for these Babylonians, these Americans, these people around the world to just start rioting. Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for remembrance. So ultimately, all these things are happening up on the planet Earth so our people can repent. Jake, the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but are they going to do it? No, because they're like, nah, I'd rather trust in my daddy, Esau, Edom. I'd rather trust in the white man. He's been feeding me this whole time. Why would he stop now? But ultimately it's Yahweh Bashim Shai that's been providing, through Esau, Edom, to allow us to eat. But it's about to come to the time where we're going to fully have to detach, from this devil system. Verse 20, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Verse 21, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And that's what's about to happen. Because people think that, okay, grocery stores still have food. I can still go get a Big Mac for $7. It's not so bad. We're about to have our food stamps get taken away, but I can still go to McDonald's. It's not so bad as it seems. But that's what Yahweh Bashim Shai has these people thinking. Because ultimately he wants them to be comfortable. He wants them to think that is peace and safety. But ultimately the elect, they're going to see through all that. They're going to be like, nah, hell no. It's getting worse. All these food plants, distribution centers are burning down. All these corporations are laying off people. Of course, it may seem good to these Babylonians because they're not watching. Verse 22, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Verse 23, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. So that's what's about to happen. All these people on TikTok and social media bugging the hell out, claiming that they're about to do this, they're about to do that. That's all a prelude, because, they're saying that, but a lot of them, they're not going to follow through with it. But a large amount of people are going to do that, but they're not going to post it on social media. They're just going to go and do it, especially if they haven't ate in a couple days, but ultimately all this is being sent out upon the planet Earth because of all the wickedness that goes on around the earth, especially here in Babylon the Great. That's why it's gonna hit so hard over here, because this is the land of freedom, the land of so-called abundance, so-called delicacies. So Yahweh Bashim Shai is about to do a number on these people, and ultimately the wicked deserve it, but